Hello there, and welcome to this session, Solving Tactics on ChessTempo.com. Today, we're going to do 1800 to 1900. I hope this video finds you well. I hope that everyone's doing okay. So the problem with rook e1, rook takes f6, and if g6, there is if g6, he's going to have rook f7 check, king g8, rook takes b7, and rook takes e5. If I try to get clever with rook a5, there's a4, which really causes me troubles. What about queen b1? Driving the king out. As no check, I'm going to have to examine rook g7. But, well, no, rook g7, king g7, and after any queen check, there's always queen g6. So no, rook g7 is not on. So queen b1 and rook g7 is not a response. So if queen g3, rook h1 checkmates. Queen b1, queen g3. Can you do arrows? No, I don't think you can do arrows on chess tempo. I'm eating a lentil burger that I just made at the same time that I record this. I'm not a vegetarian, but meat is just expensive. So rook e1 doesn't work. Queen takes f7. And I would have to fight. Well, queen takes f7, queen d1, queen f4 check, g3, queen takes e5. Equality. But queen b1 is the way to fight for an advantage here, no? So queen b1, let's say queen e3, rook check, king g3. I don't see it. Queen b1, queen f2, or queen e3, or queen b4, all of these. Wait. Oh, it's rook h1 and then queen g6 check, picking up the rook. Yeah, rook, queen b1, queen anywhere, rook h1 check, king g3, and then queen g6 check, picking up f7. Is there a way he can stop that? Queen b1, queen f2 to cover f7 would be the only move. So then after rook check, king g3, maybe queen check. Queen check. If queen f3, there's queen g6 check. No, okay, wait. Queen f2. It could be something else. It could be something other than rook h1. I could play queen g6 anyways. And then if king h4, queen g5 mate. Here, here, check, here, check, here, mate. So he'd need to go here, and then I'm still picking up on f7. Yep. That's easier. Yes. So this was a really, really good problem. I really liked that because the key line. I wish Chess Tempo would give you not the best computer defense, but the key, like the main line, like the key test of the position to demonstrate. Because here and queen f2 to hold on to the rook, rook b1, queen f2 to stop queen g6, queen takes f7. So rook check, king forced, queen check. Now if king here, queen check mates, and if king here, pick up the rook with check and simplification. Yeah, what a nice problem. 30 wrong moves. Queen h5, most common mistake. Queen h5, continuing the attack on the queen. After queen f2, there's queen check. So queen f2, queen takes check, king g6, or I'm sorry, g6, or queen g3. If queen g3, there's rook h1. So g3 seems forced. Now what? If rook d3, there's rook takes b7. What about here? Rook f3. But then rook d2. I think this might be the best response. Yeah, maybe that's it. Oh, why would I do that? I would take on h3. Yeah, that's an interesting. Queen h5 is an interesting line. Definitely interesting. Maybe the immediate g4 is even stronger. Just the immediate g4. Yeah, perhaps. Oh, I want my juice. There it is. Queen takes g2 doesn't seem to work. The threat is pawn d8. So queen e1 check, king h2 forced. Knight f1 check, king h1, knight g3 double check, king h2. And then if I take the queen, d8, queens, mate. Queen e1, king h2, knight g4 check. Knight g4 check, h takes g4, queen h4 check, king g1, rook d1. Checkmate. Nice. I think you can really see my thought process there. You can really see how how the combination works in my brain, right? How first I tried knight f1 and then I was looking for alternatives, and so knight g4 springs to mind. Because from the beginning I was trying to get my rook onto d1, but I wasn't certain how to clear out. So like the reason why I arrived at queen e1 check was to clear the d file for the rook check. And then it all sort of just binds together. Chess is truly beautiful sometimes. 16 wrong moves, rook e8, top 1, and 2 knight f1 check. Yes, so 2 knight f1 check, this is perpetual. I mean, no, I guess you could just do it this way. But I mean, why would you do that? If you play knight f1, yeah, you can't play knight f1 to play knight g4 afterwards. It just means that you were not calculating the position all the way. And the beautiful thing about tactics is it's the one time where you can take every second that you need to go all the way to the end of the line and beyond. And I know that makes for like not such a good viewing experience for people watching my videos. I get that. I'm sorry. Uh, but at the same time, it has its worth. Queen e5 check, king g8, and my idea is e7. Also, knight d7 is very strong. But no, knight d7, queen takes e5. Hmm. Hmm. knight check, knight g8. I'm sorry, queen check, king g8, or f6. Is f6 a problem? Queen check, f6. That could be a problem. Mm. Yeah, after queen check, f6, there's nowhere for me to go to cover c5. So I should play queen c4, maybe. Queen c4 intending f7. Or, I mean, obviously, if f takes e6, I win the exchange. I can also play queen c6. But queen c6, knight e7. But even in that case, uh, queen c6, knight e7 causes me problems. But if queen c4, knight d6, there's queen check. So queen c4 seems to be the move. After which knight e7. What am I expecting? If knight d6 is queen d4 check, picking up the knight. If knight e2 check, I don't even have to take it. I can just play king h2. Or I could take it. But no, I don't think I would because I like having the threat of knight d7 there. And I don't think the knight's very good on e2. So yeah, queen c4. No. This is something that I considered, but I'm not certain what the problem with queen c4 is. Maybe just that one's winning material. That variation wins material. Presumably. And my variation did not. But I figured it was like some sort of defend your advantage kind of problem. So I sack my queen, I get the queen back for a rook, then I lose the knight. So I'm up the exchange for a pawn and the open king, which is more than enough compensation. It's a pawn. But yeah. Rook e1. Okay. Knight f7. Queen takes g3. Knight h6. Checkmate. '16 wrong moves. Knight g4. Knight g4, threatening knight h6 checkmate. If knight g4, there's e5, yeah? Blocking the queen, and no more mate. But with knight f7, if g5, now I still get the queen. I feel sad, man. I feel sad for missing a couple of those problems. So it's making me feel bad. I wonder if rook a8, pawn, rook a8. I'm sorry, rook a1, pawn, rook a8. And I wonder if the threat of knight f6 is just unstoppable. Rook a1. Pawn takes. Rook a8. Knight b8. Knight f6. And that seems to cover everything. Okay, so how can I make threats with my queen in order to pick up the rook? I can take on a4, threatening queen a8. Three minors, rook, queen. What's his plan exactly? Queen b7 threatens what? Queen b7, rook b2 escapes. But queen b7, and the rook doesn't have a2. The rook doesn't have... So queen b1 is the move, yeah? Queen b1, and the rook has no squares. because you need to take away c2. So is that the point? Because if you get greedy with a4, there's rook b2. But if you stay steady, after f5, king takes e2, f takes, pawn takes f3, pawn takes f3, or king takes f3. He can't really do anything to me. Yeah. King b1. Knight e5 was not the move I was expecting. But I'm gonna take here anyways. I expected this. But you know, I suppose I can take back. Yeah, I can take back because the queen supports e4. And now there are even more threats. Let's do one more. I'm kind of in a downer mood all of a sudden. I feel bad. Queen takes, bishop check, king g2, d2, rook d1. Not quite. Rook c2. Rook c2, rook f8 check. King takes f8. Queen check. Rook c2, rook c2, rook f8. I mean, how else does he stop mate? Rook c2, his queen can go nowhere to defend the g2 square. If he tries like queen h6 fanciness, then queen takes g2 is mate, plain and simple. Is there something quicker than rook c2? This seems a little bit too simple. Not that I see. Rook c2, rook f8. If king g7, rook f7, king g8 is repetition, so you have to take. Now after queen h6, king e8, there's no more checks. There's no more meaningful checks. Queen takes check, bishop check, king g1, and bishop c6. Rook f8 check, king h7. Or I'm sorry, king g7. e8 promotes. Bishop takes e8, rook takes e8, d2, and d1 queens is unstoppable. Huh? What? What? How is that not the correct move? Hmm. If queen d7, rook f8 check, king g7, e8 queens. But why would I do that? That seems so unnecessary. Queen d7 seems so unnecessary. There's also queen c6. Hmm. Queen c6. So that way rook f8, king g7 can be met with rook c1 check. Knight f1, rook takes f1. But then I don't win the queen. What the fuck? That seems so unnecessary. It is so unnecessary. Okay, bishop c6, rook f8, king g7. Bishop c6, rook f8, king g7, e8 queens. Bishop takes e8, rook takes e8, rook takes d2. Maybe this is what they want. Yeah. So here I have queen takes f5. Queen takes f5, rook takes f5, rook d2, and rook f8, king g7, e8 knight or something. Because queens doesn't work because of rook d1 mate. So queen takes, rook takes, rook takes, rook f8, king g7, e8 queens, rook d1, checkmate. You throw pieces at me, but rook d1 checkmate is largely the point. Hmm. Man, I liked queen g2. I suppose it is just the exchange up, though, yeah? Mm, Bishop f8. If queen takes h8, there's queen g2 mates. Bishop f8 if queen g6, there isn't rook g. So what is there? If bishop g6, there's just knight takes g6. So does she have any squares? No, no, yes. She has this square here. Man, that bishop on c4 is really doing some work, isn't she? Oh man, bishop f8, there's queen b7. Of course I can't play that. God. Um, Material balance. Two minors, two minors, two rooks, queen, queen. Four pawns, three pawns. Can I do anything good with let's say like pawn takes e? Pawn takes e, queen h8 check. Rook d6. Queen takes h5. Too many threats to hold. There. Does rook h7 work instead? Rook h7, and it's the same story. Yeah, rook h7 instead of bishop f8. Rook h7, queen check, there's rook d8. And if rook h7, queen takes h7, queen g2 mates, rook h7, the queen has nowhere to go. Rook h7, queen g8, there's king rook d8, and she finally must give up the g file. So take and then take on b7. If I take on a6, he'll take on h7. So take and take on b7. And you can't throw in rook g2 check because the bishop on b7 covers g2 for the time being. Very nice. So more materials to be won there. I'm gonna go ahead and call this session. Let's take a look at rook d8, rook d d8, rook d d8. Probably people are trying to prepare. Yeah, people are preparing. Here we go. Rook d d8. And what people are doing, the mistake being made, people are preparing the threat of e takes as well as rook h7. So if you do this, then this happens, yeah? I think that this is still winning a piece, but the difference is the variation that I threw in there at the beginning, where even after all of this, you're still winning a lot of material. H4 is threatened, and so is knight e2, and you can't stop both of them. Check, king h2, h4. There's a lot of threats to be met here. And that's why this is the better line, even though the other one also, I think, could win a piece. Let's call this session here. I'm glad to be over 1900 again. I was recording and just had a really bad session. It was really embarrassing, actually. But I hope you enjoyed this session here. I hope that you learned as much as I did. And until the next time, good luck with your chess journey. Ta-ta.